The Papal Conclave of 1939 was convoked on the brink of World War II with the death of Pope Pius XI on the 10th of February that year in the Apostolic Palace. With all 62 living cardinals in attendance, the conclave to elect Pius's successor began on the 1st of March and ended a day later, on the 2nd of March. After 3 ballots, the cardinals elected Eugenio Cardinal Pacelli, then Camerlengo and the deceased pontiff's Secretary of State, as the new pope. He accepted the election and took the pontifical name of Pius XII. Papal and balloting. Like Street, Pius X. Pope Pius XI was seen as a blunt-spoken, no-nonsense pontiff, and so the cardinals decided that they needed a soft-spoken diplomat to guide them through the forthcoming war. Among the likely contenders for the papacy were August Lond of Gniezno-Poznan, Karl Joseph Schalt of Cologne, the curial Eugene Gabriel Gervais Laurent Tissa and Ildefonso Schuster of Milan, Adeodato Giovanni Piazza of Venice, Maurilio Fossati of Turin, and Camerlengo and Cardinal Secretary of State Eugenio Pacelli. The prospect of a non-Italian pope was considered better in 1939 than in previous conclaves. While Cardinal Pacelli was not the only known papabile at the conclave, he was heavily favored among the cardinals to win due to hints made by Pope Pius XI prior to his death that he favored Pacelli as his successor. On the 15th of December 1937, during his last consistory, Pius XI strongly hinted to the cardinals that he expected Pacelli to be his successor, saying, "He is in your midst." Quote, he had previously been quoted as saying, "When today the Pope dies, you'll get another one tomorrow, because the Church continues. It will be a much bigger tragedy if Cardinal Pacelli dies, because there is only one. I pray every day, God may send another one into one of our seminaries, but as of today, there is only one in this world." During a break after the second ballot, Pacelli suffered a fall down a flight of stairs, but was only bruised. Election of Pacelli. On the second ballot, Pacelli received the exact 2/3 majority, but, according to rumor, he then requested another ballot to confirm the validity of his election. He was again elected on the third ballot, accepted and took the regnal name of Pius XII. To the question, "Acceptas ne electionem de te canonis factum in summum pontificem?" Pacelli replied, "Accepto in crucem." This was only the 4th time since 1823 that a cardinal widely viewed as papabile was the one actually chosen. Moreover, Pacelli was the first Secretary of State to become Pope since Clement IX, the first Camerlengo since Leo XIII, the first member of the Roman Curia since Gregory XVI, and the first Roman since Clement X. The white smoke signifying a successful election appeared at 5:30 p.m., but confusingly began to turn black. However, Monsignor Vincenzo Santoro, the conclave's secretary, then sent a note to Vatican Radio to confirm that the smoke was indeed white and Eugenio Pacelli was now Pope Pius XII. Protodeacon Camillo Cacciadominioni later gave the Latin Habemus Papam announcement on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica. The following is a transcription of the Habemus Papam delivered by the cardinal as recorded. This can be translated into English as follows. In joy of Pacelli's election, the crowd below in St. Peter's Square began to sing the hymn Christus Vincem. Inside the Vatican, Pius XII continued to occupy his apartment as Secretary of State. He had given orders to his housekeepers to pack everything in order to make way for the next secretary, as every new pope has a given right for new appointments. Later Madre Pascalina remembered the Vatican apartment with the closed windows. About 5:30 p.m. we were all still occupied with packing and cleaning the rooms when we heard from St. Peter's Square yelling and clapping noises. We did not dare to open the windows and look, and nobody came to tell us. So we waited until the door to the office opened. In the entrance stood a tall and thin figure, now dressed in white. No more Cardinal Pacelli, it was Pope Pius XII. How can one forget such a moment? We sisters cried and kneeled in front of him and kissed the hand of the Holy Father for the first time. He had wet eyes too. Looking down on himself, he said, "Look what they have done to me." Choice of name and goals upon election. Pope Pius XII explained his choice of Pius as his regnal name by saying, "I call myself Pius. My whole life was under popes with this name, but especially as a sign of gratitude towards Pius XI." After his election, Pius XII listed 3 objectives as pontiff: a new translation of the Psalms, daily recited by the religious and priests, in order for the clergy to better appreciate the beauty and richness of the Old Testament. This translation was completed in 1945. A definition of the dogma of the Assumption. This necessitated numerous studies into church history and consultations with the episcopate worldwide. The dogma was proclaimed in November 1950. Increased archaeological excavations under St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, to determine whether St. Peter was actually buried there, or whether the Church subjected itself for more than 1,500 years to a pious hoax. This was a controversial point, because of the real possibility of a major embarrassment and technical concerns. To conduct excavations under the main altar, close to the Bernini columns of the Papal altar and the main support of the Michelangelo's cupola. The first results regarding the tomb of St. Peter were published in 1950. Trivia: the conclave of 1939 was the shortest one of the 20th century, with that of August 1978 ranking second. Cardinal Pacelli, the eventual winner, had allegedly voted for Federico Cardinal Tedeschiani.